people are consuming a credit card size of plastic per week.
Taking turmeric pills with black pepper, just with water.
You know, that pill, by the way, is coated with so-called edible plastic. Again, you're literally consuming microplastics. You'd rather take organic turmeric root, boil it in water, and drink it early morning empty stomach.
Ashwagandha. And now in a different form, like gummies and pills and liquid supplements. And is it compatible for everyone?
You need to dissolve it. You can't just solve it with a ashwagandha cup. You know, too much of good is also bad.
Warm water with lemon or apple cider vinegar. Is it compatible for everyone? Because I feel like it can't be.
Oh gosh. No, I'm glad you listened to your intuition. It's twice fermented, but it aggravates pitta imbalance, burning sensation, acidity, reflux. All this is because of these fermented drinks that we're taking empty stomach.
Lots of women actually influencing to have water with saffron in it.
Saffron again is very potent. One saffron thread per day is enough. If you overdo it, it can lead to discoloration for skin. It can lead to excess heat in your stomach. It's a very heaty spice actually.
Is it safe for me to say that I think anything Ayurveda, the first step would be to consult someone?
Always. It's good to get your knowledge in place because half knowledge is far more dangerous than no knowledge.
Bonjour, welcome to God's Story. My name is Alpa. I'm for friends. I'm a content creator, and today I will be asking questions to Dimple. Okay, Dimple, are you ready for all the questions?
I'm curious to know what you have in your mind.
So I'm on social media.
Yeah.
I've been on it for the past 14 years.
Okay.
And I have seen this trend of people that kind of self-proclaim themselves like experts, variety of topics. And one particular topic that kind of bothers me a little bit because, maybe because I'm Indian and this is a science I've grown with. And I see a lot of stuff, a lot of information, a lot of practice. And I felt like maybe this would be a good thing to record for you to kind of enlighten.
Yeah, for sure.
Enlighten us
Yeah.
on whether it's a trend or a fact or it's beneficial or not.
For sure, I'm happy to. We love doing research in our clinic. We have amazing doctors, Ayurvedic Vaidyas. We also have biotech researchers. We also had a forensic science researcher once in our clinic. I love researching Ayurveda, Ayurvedic nutrition, yoga, breathwork, pranayama, everything that's preventive and healing. So whatever we can offer from our research, happy to help you.
Thank you. Maybe we can start with just a short introduction of what Ayurveda is.
Sure. Ayurveda itself means Ayu plus Veda, which means Ayu is life, Veda is science, knowledge. It means science of life or the knowledge of life. It literally is just a personalized science that allows you to personalize your nutrition, your diet, your lifestyle based on your unique biological blueprint. Okay, that's called Prakriti in Ayurveda. So all of us have a unique blueprint and an inclination towards a certain kinds of disorders and imbalance. So based on your unique biological blueprint, based on the topography of the city you're living in, the country you're living in, based on the climatic conditions, based on the genetic factors the information you've inherited in your DNA from your ancestors or the diseases that they have survived, based on your own symptoms and based on your lifestyle goals and health goals that you have. You can personalize your diet, your lifestyle, detox methods, and you can preserve your health, prevent diseases, and live the highest version of yourself. That is what is Ayurveda for me.
Yes, on that note, you have helped me a lot.
Thank
Your teas and your, suggestions for me.
I'm so glad.
Kind of calm down my doshas.
So, Pia, which one was your favorite?
The was Arjun's word.
Yeah.
I love the Abhyanga.
Yeah.
I think your girls are absolutely fantastic.
Thank
and I'm actually looking forward to come for one more before I fly out.
They'll be so happy to hear this.
They are just so aligned and energetically.
Yeah.
There's a connection.
Yeah.
And I think Ayurveda is important to have that. Right? So
Absolutely. I'm so glad to hear this.
yes. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of practices I've seen, and you can just, give a short answer on the thoughts.
Sure.
It works for everyone, but they should be mindful about, their doshas and all that stuff. So I've seen these girls kind of putting castor oil in their belly button.
Yeah.
And wrapping it with plastic.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
It's actually very effective. Okay, but the authentic way to do it is you put some castor oil drops in your navel, because your navel has almost 70 to 90,000 nerve endings. And that was the first source of nutrition for you. Everything that you became happened because of the nutrition flowing through your navel, through the umbilical cord into you, right? And it has been forgotten after we were born, after the umbilical cord fell off. We don't really pay attention to our navel. But massaging your navel activates those nerve endings, which connects to all the organs, and it sends out messages through the strotas, the channels, to all the organs, reminding them to detoxify at night. Right? So that's called Nabi Purana. It's one of the most ancient Ayurvedic practices, very effective, very impactful. And then you can massage your belly and your abdomen area left to right, circular motion. So that allows the food to move down from the stomach, the small intestine, to the large intestine. The small intestine is 22 feet long. The large intestine is 6 feet. About 28 feet approximate is the passage or pathway for the food to pass through the gut. So when you're massaging left to right, anti-clockwise, you are reminding the organs to move the food, the waste, the toxins, the undigested foods, everything down. And in our clinic, you'd have noticed that they, have this tapping technique where they tap around your navel, they tap around your abdomen. It's basically to dislodge all the stuck waste. We're tapping gently, tuck, 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 tuck. And you're also pressing on the Manma points. So in an authentic way, that's how it's done. And then we wrap a cloth.
Yes.
The cloth traps the heat, and castor oil is heavy, unctuous, deeply penetrating in nature. It penetrates through the subcutaneous fat, and it lubricates your organs and allows the colon and large intestine and the liver especially to release the toxic waste. It's the most powerful therapies. If I feel bloated or sick or water retention, I would immediately apply castor oil on my belly and wear the belt to go to sleep at night. Now, because women may not have access to the cloth, the muslin cloth, or the belt, they take a plastic wrapper and ring it around the belly. It still serves the purpose. It's okay. Something is better than nothing here. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're not ingesting food and water stored in plastic. That's microplastics entering your bloodstream. But this is perfectly fine.
I also see this trend of girls taking, mostly girls, because this is what I see mostly, taking turmeric pills with black pepper, but in the form of a pill, just with water.
Not a big fan of it. That pill, by the way, is coated with so-called edible plastic. Again, you're literally consuming microplastics. And what is a guarantee the plastic is coming out of you? It's going to get lodged to different organs. There is actually research that shows that people are consuming a credit card size of plastic per week, literally. In a year, million plastics, millions of them, are lodged in your heart, in the egg, in the sperm, in the fetus. They found microplastics in the umbilical cord. I'm not a big fan of consuming pills. And second thing is, you can take as many supplements as you like. If you're ugly, your digestive file is not strong, if your absorption and assimilation is not top notch, that supplement is of no use. It literally comes up through your urine. You're paying for expensive urine. That's another thing. Third, turmeric is potent, impactful in its original form. So the turmeric root that you get, the original one, either you make turmeric powder out of it after dehydrating, or take the turmeric root and boil it with water and drink. It has all the plant components that is required to activate it inside your body. It's anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. It takes care of all the free radicals floating around in your body and pulls it out, right? It improves your sleep, reduces vata imbalance, pitta imbalance, great for your skin health. But because we've taken it in a laboratory and extracted the turmeric, the curcumin part of it, it has become unstable and it's not effective enough to be absorbed on its own. And now we're putting in piperine from the pepper to be able to absorb the curcumin.
Yes.
So that's honestly stupidity. You'd rather take organic turmeric root, boil it in water with a few black peppercorns if you still want to balance it, and drink it early morning empty stomach. See how quickly your body absorbs those nutrients.
Right. Another thing I've been seeing is ashwagandha, and now in a different form, like gummies and pills and liquid supplements. And is it compatible for everyone, ashwagandha? If so, what's the best way to have it? What time is the best also?
See, ashwagandha again is an adaptogenic herb. It has become the poster child of Ayurveda in the West. Everybody's obsessed with Shilaji, the Ashwagandha, and Shatavari, which is great. The time for Ayurveda has finally arrived. It's in the spotlight. That's great. But the problem is overdosing on it at the wrong time. That's a problem, right? Now, every time people are feeling stressed, they pop an ashwagandha gum in their mouth, which is probably not the best thing to do. You first also need to resolve your stress triggers, find out what it is, whether it's work or partner or home or domestic issues. You need to resolve it. You can't just solve it with an ashwagandha gum. So ashwagandha is a herb, but it's not a magic pill for all your problems. That's the problem that I'm seeing with people, over abusing something. Too much of good is also bad. Ghee is great, but overabuse of that is going to lead to cholesterol. Now, ashwagandha reduces stress in the body, improves your sleep quality, gives you strength and immunity also. And ashwagandha is great, for women and men who are working out, who need that added strength, but also need to calm their nervous system down at night. But a Vata person who's already aggravated and restless will not do well with ashwagandha because they already have excess energy in the body. Ashwagandha will aggravate it. And if you're having a pitta imbalance excessively, then ashwagandha can again aggravate it. So you need to speak to an Ayurvedic doctor, do a proper consult, ask them, should I take ashwagandha? If they say yes, then you can buy it from any source that you like, either in an Ayurvedic medication form, a syrup form, a gummy form, or even an ashwagandha tea if you like. Source it after speaking to an Ayurvedic doctor. Don't self-prescribe these herbs, is what I would advise. And if you're going to take it in a herbal tea or something, make sure that it's like 1/4 the dosage. So it doesn't create any negative side effects. You're still feeling healthy, calm, and your body can adopt.
So another one I've been seeing a lot is warm water with lemon or the apple cider vinegar.
Oh gosh.
Is it compatible for you? Because I feel like it can't be.
No, I'm glad you listened to your intuition. Let me tell you what lemon and apple cider vinegar does separately. Lemon is cleansing in nature. It cleanses your tissues and removes any kind of grease from your body. So when you have a greasy dish, what do? You squeeze a lemon on top of it and then you scrub the dish clean. The same with your body. You've had too much oily food, fatty food. There's too much kapha imbalance in your tissues, which is basically mucus, fat, water, salt. Lemon helps in cleansing your tissues and cells and releasing all of that. So warm water with lemon on and an empty stomach in the morning, excellent for reducing your kapha imbalance, coat off sinus, mucus, boosting your immunity. Apple cider vinegar is twice fermented compared to alcohol, right? It was first converted into vinegar, then into an apple cider, right? It's twice fermented. It's very strong. Or it's the other way around. It's so strong, it strips away the mucus lining in your gut wall, which can then lead to the mucus lining being eroded, the gut being exposed to the foods you're eating, which can then cause leaky gut syndrome, tiny holes in your gut where not just the nutrients, but even undigested food, heavy metals, toxins, unhealthy bacteria leaking into the bloodstream. Now, the problem that we are all facing now, leaky gut syndrome, which is very common in cities, is that the gut is home to trillions of bacteria. The gut microbiome is very special. Now, they help in digesting the food, breaking down complex carbs and protein, absorbing nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. They convert the nutrients into energy that we use. So that conversion transformation process happens due to the gut microbiome. The gut microbiome is great. It's an army. But they must stay in their bacteria. They must stay in the gut. When they start leaking into the bloodstream, the pathogens, the bacteria, your body will have an autoimmune response. It will increase inflammation. It will start attacking its own cells and the unhealthy bacteria. And that self-attack can lead to an autoimmune response in the long run and even trigger autoimmune disorders. Leaky gut syndrome has been linked with autoimmune disorders. When you have too much apple cider vinegar, you're stripping away the mucus lining, which is a protective layer that is keeping the microbiome in. And now, without the mucus lining, the microbiome is getting leaked into the bloodstream. So apple cider vinegar is great for washing your feet, getting rid of fungus and mold in the house, for washing your fruits and vegetables. It's great on the outside. It's also great if you're having a UTI infection. You can dilute apple cider vinegar in water, splash it on your private areas, your genitals. Great, but not at side pieces.
Thank you, because I see many
Doing it.
that. Yeah.
Because it gives you quick results, right? It makes you lose fat and weight very quickly. It's twice fermented, but it aggravates pitta imbalance. It triggers SIBO, H. pylori, melogram, which is not good. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Your microbiome is overactivated. H. pylori, also bacteria that aggravates pitta imbalance, burning sensation, acidity, reflux. All this is because of these fermented drinks that we're taking empty stomach.
And what about ginger shots?
On an empty stomach or after a meal?
On an empty stomach.
Okay, again, ginger is a great herb or a spice as we call it. Ginger stimulates Agni, the metabolic fire. For those who have a very weak Agni, very low metabolism, very low appetite, we give them a piece of ginger rolled in rock salt. This is great for stimulating appetite. A small piece of ginger. But when you take ginger shots repeatedly on an empty stomach, it aggravates with that balance. Burning sensation, acidity, reflux, H. pylori, SIBO, and such things. If you're taking ginger shot post meals, you have the food lining your stomach walls, and the ginger shot doesn't corrode your stomach lining. That's great. It doesn't eat up your stomach lining or cause excess heat or make it too acidic. So, depending on where you are, if you're having too much cold and cough, you can do a ginger shot empty stomach. But if you're in normal health, it's better to do post meals.
I am actually very happy about this, but tongue scraping has been a thing and I'm all for it. I think oral hygiene is extremely important.
Yeah.
What's the right order between tongue scraping, brushing your teeth, and oil pulling?
Okay, so this is how I like to do it. Number one, start with oil pulling. Take 1 teaspoon of sesame oil or coconut oil or even clove soaked in coconut oil and swirl it around in your mouth. Swish it around left to right for really long. It takes away the plaque, the undigested food that's stuck between your teeth, and any kind of halitosis, bad breath you might have. And then after a minute or 2 minutes, spit it out in the bin, okay, the dustbin, not in the wash basin, so you don't clog your drain. And then you gargle your throat with warm water, turmeric salt. Reason being, after you do oil pulling, there's some of the oil still left in your mouth. The unhealthy bacteria is sitting in that oil. You don't want to swallow it. It can lead to a throat infection. So you want to rinse your mouth and your throat, warm water, turmeric, and salt. You can do away with other salt if you don't have organic salt. You don't want discoloration on your teeth. Then brush your teeth with a bitter toothpaste. Me, Viswa, Dabala. These are some Indian brands that I really like. They're bitter, they're astringent, they're slightly pungent, they have hot spices in it like clove, which is very good for dental health. And then scrape your tongue with the copper tongue cleaner. Because when we sleep at night, the undigested food releases ama, toxins, which can surface towards the tongue and deposit on it. So when you do tongue scraping, you're getting rid of the toxins from your mouth rather than swallowing it again. And then you drink warm water. That's how I like to do it.
Lovely. Let's do it. So this means for good.
Amazing. It's a validation of them being on the right path.
Exactly. And the last question I have seen lately, actually, lots of women actually influencing to have water with saffron in it.
Yeah.
What is it about?
Saffron, again, is very potent. It's a spice. It's an exotic spice grown in India, in Kashmir especially. One saffron thread per day is enough. If you overdo it, it can lead to discoloration of your skin. It can lead to excess heat in your stomach. It's a very heaty spice, actually. Saffron is actually given to pregnant women because, the child is healthy. They have beautiful, skin. But if you overdo it, it can lead to discoloration and food poisoning for the mother and the child. Women are doing saffron because it gives them beautiful skin and hair.
Right.
But again, like I say, don't overdo it. 1 string of saffron in a glass of milk because the milk is heavy. The milk is good fat. It carries saffron. So you can either have cruelty-free milk, almond milk, or coconut milk. Almond milk is a bit heavy though. You can have oat milk if it's organic oat and not genetically modified, not soya milk. That is fine. But don't overdo it, is my advice. A lot of people are overdoing it. It can lead to H. pylori, burning sensation, acidity, reflux, which are all with that balance.
Correct. Well, thank you for answering all my questions. This was very educating. And is it safe for me to say that I think anything Ayurveda, the first step would be to consult someone?
Always. Yeah. Always. It's good to get your knowledge in place because half knowledge is far more dangerous than no knowledge.
Yes, I agree. Well, thank you for listening. I hope this was educative for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. And I'm sending you a lot of positive energy. Until next time.